officer stopped me and we had an interaction, and we uncovered that, as I just said, all men and women have the right to use the public roadways without being regulated. Yeah, I'm good. There you go. So yeah, basically this is just about moving people's awareness and perspective to the idea that we are created by the Most High, we are made in the image of the Most High, and that our rights do not come from government, right? Public servants. Public servants are here to serve the public. You know, that's the bottom line. So I believe that we have to hold all public servants liable in federal court, and that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm moving forward with that process. I have a case filed, and yeah, it's under review. So me and Paul are going to be doing a seminar about how to move property from point A to point B without license, registration, insurance, and plates. And yeah, I'm gonna. This is my first talk, so I'm a little bit nervous. So just bear with me. I appreciate all of you. And I also do want to say, this has been an amazing group of people, right? And I'm not just saying that because I'm up here to kiss ass or whatever like that. I'm saying that I've cried like 2 or 3 times since I've been here, like 2 or 3 days. And from a guy from New York, that's saying a lot. So I'm just saying, it's a beautiful group of people out here, and I really needed this sort of reconnection. So I appreciate you, and I love you guys. So yeah, I'm kind of, you know, a little bit off balance. So is there any questions? Can we do some questions? Anybody seen the videos? Tell it like it is. Okay, so the all capital letters name, right? All caps, capitis diminutio maxima, right? The all capital letters name that you see, it's the legal person. It's what you get on all commercial bills, right? When you get a credit card, on your birth certificates, that all capital letters name. The reason that they are able to regulate us and interfere with our rights is because we are appearing in court as that legal person, right? We've been duped and deluded to believe that that is our name. So when they ask us to appear and they say, are you here? And we say yes, now they have jurisdiction over us, right? So if we come into court as man or woman and we hold the individual man or woman liable in court, we can reverse the deprivation of our rights, is what I believe. Okay, with the law. So obviously, maybe not so obvious, but if you take a look at me, you know, you might be able to surmise that I might have a little bit of a checkered past. So, you know, I've been arrested in the past, you know, for doing illegal activities. And upon researching and studying it, I came to find out that legal and lawful are not the same thing, right? So lawful is anything that applies to man and woman, right? So let me give you an example. Unlawful interferes with a man or woman's rights. That's the only thing that can be unlawful or a breach of contract. Illegal, there's something like 11.4 million statutes, policies, and codes on the books, right? So we need to get back in line, the difference between legal and lawful. There are many things that are illegal, but they happen to be lawful, right? And that's what our Constitution is there for all public servants to swear oath and bond to that document. We're not a party to it, but they are, because they swear to it, and we have to hold them accountable to what they swear to, right? So if we want our rights, each and every person out here is going to have to hold, in their communities, in their town, they're going to have to do what I know. A lot of people are saying, oh, we love what you do, this and that. That's fine, but we all have to do it. If we want our rights and freedoms, right? All of us here, we're beautiful. Well, maybe, you know, you guys are beautiful people out there, right? You guys are beautiful people out there, and you're good people, and you're trying to do what's right, right? Your morality, your conscience is your responsibility. No one else in this realm is here to dictate the difference between right and wrong to you. So if you want that power, if you want that freedom of responsibility and accountability, you're going to have to stand on that as a man or woman. That's what a man or woman is, you know, obviously. Somebody who stands on principle, right? Accountable and responsible. So, yeah, I'm kind of going on. You want to direct me here, Troy? You want to keep me in line or what? You can get back up on stage naked if you want. We can, you know. It was a good energy out here when you were doing that. Okay. So, I think I went into the whole person thing. Yeah, I'm kind of drawing a blank, Troy. You know, I got my videos on YouTube. You know, people see the work I do. I'm not a stage guy. You know what I'm saying? My work is done in the street. So they asked the street guy to come on stage, and I did that. You know what I'm saying? But when push comes to shove, I'm doing the work in the street. So, you know, and this is my first talk. So going forward, next year and the year after, the talks are going to get better. I promise. Presenting them evidence of a contract. The first thing they do is walk up and say, license, registration, insurance. If you see in the video, they keep asking for that. And then the guy says, well, what's the legal name? That's not your name that the government gave you. That's not. They're opening the door to show us that there's a fraud taking place, right? So when they ask you for that license, registration, and insurance, that's a contract. When you get any kind of licensure, you're making a contract with them saying that you're going to abide by their statutes, policies, and codes, right? Man and woman has rights. Legal person has duties, obligations, responsibilities, and privileges, right? So majority society have given up their rights for benefits and privileges. Right? So that's what we need to get back in line. We have to give, if we want to be given everything, we have to give everything up, right? If we, go ahead.
It's our right to travel.
Move property, Troy. I'm glad you asked. Move property, right? Because I don't even get into travel anymore because they play so many word games, right? It's move property. It's my property. It's proper to me. It's an extension of my body, right? It's under my jurisdiction. So I just refer to anything that's proper to me, including my name, my proper name, right? It's proper to me. It's my property, right? So.
Hey, Paul.
Go ahead.
For those that don't have the context of this video you're talking about, you want to tell us a little bit of the story, what happened to you, and what ended up happening, and what's going on with that now. That might help the audience understand a little better.
Yeah. So, you know, the officer came up to my vehicle, asked for license, registration, and insurance because I didn't have any plates. I told him I didn't have any of those things. Right? I had him get the supervisor. The supervisor came. We had a pretty lengthy conversation, you know, about the difference between legal and lawful, and his oath and bond to the Constitution, and what my rights were. And by the conclusion of the video, it's an amazing video, right? At the conclusion of this video, you see, you know, who's supposed to be two individuals on opposite sides come together, right? Because we cannot change any of this by making it us versus them. We have to see all people as a we, right? Kind of like they do with the mind control. We're all in this together. Well, that's the real truth. You know, we are all in this together. We're going to have to give our public servants the opportunity and ability to uphold rights and feel good about themselves and their jobs and their careers, right? Or not. And then if they don't, we got to hold them liable. That's it, you know? We're done being polite. Bring them to federal court, hold them liable. When they have to pay, they're going to back off everybody's rights. You know, it's that simple.
And why are they getting away with this right now? And what is the superstructure right now that's allowing for all of this to take place, from the masks and all the nonsense with what we call corporate law, I guess? Maybe go
bar, right? British Accredited Registry. So when we go into the founding of this country, we fought a war against the British, right? What we have now is the bar agency, the British Accredited Registry. We have an overthrow of the law in America by a British institution, right? So this should be sort of very shocking to people and be very upsetting that we have a British corporation, the same people we fought a war against for rights, overthrowing our rights for statutes, policies, and code, okay? So, and another problem is everybody wants to go in court and hire an attorney. You know, I got the best attorney. That's cool. You just represented yourself, okay? So someone else is gonna come in and represent you. Represent, right? You as a man or woman always are accountable, responsible to present yourself. You know, like today, I'm scared, but you know what I said? The level up has to happen. I have to get on the stage and push past my fear, and then, you know, I'm accountable and responsible. I'm able to respond, you know, for better or for worse.
So Paul, what are some things people here are just starting to learn about common law, natural law, the state of the admiralty law, and all of this. It's a lot for people that are just learning this to wrap their heads around. What is something that someone could do right now to maybe take a little action in their life, whether it be to go into the store without a mask if they're still living in a place that is mandating that, or if they want to try to move possessions without having to deal with licenses? What, in your perspective, is a way that we can start taking action towards kind of removing this corporate superstructure, false legal structure over us?
Start questioning, right? This group of people here is a very warm and loving group of people. They have the power, right? If these individuals can question the authorities in a loving, faithful, compassionate way, there's nowhere to go with it, right? They cannot set us up to be bad men and women, right? So we have to question them, we have to hold them accountable. And you'll see in my videos, right, is that when upon questioning, they reveal that they don't know. They need our help, right? Is really what it is. If we really want to be loving and compassionate, these public servants are so screwed up from their training and the trauma and everything else that they've been through that they need our help. They need the help of a community like this to go in there and heal them, do massages on them, give them the breath work. You know, this ain't my thing. I'm just saying I've seen what everyone's doing, and it's all valuable stuff. We need to take it to the public servants, get them calm and relaxed, and get them back on upholding rights. You know, and I think we'll be back on course here.
Are we... This seems, from the videos that I've seen, something that I love in terms of that is this really is spiritual in many ways.
Absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about that and universal law and how that, what is the superseding top law of the universe?
Sure. So like, and I go back to scripture, right? Not that I'm religious, but we can talk about different scriptures. So the idea of Christ or Christed consciousness. Any man or woman who wants to do right or do good in a world that seeks to program them to do wrong is always going to have to sacrifice, may even have to sacrifice their life, you know, the ultimate price. But again, we're going to have to become comfortable with the uncomfortable. We're going to have to lay it all on the line, you know, and surrender the outcome. That's the spiritual work for me, surrendering the outcome, right, in everything. You know, whether it's getting on stage, whether it's in a relationship, you know, whatever the dynamic is, we have to surrender the outcome. Do our best, you know, level up, and then surrender the outcome.
I've got a great question here.
Go ahead.
We went into continuity of government after September 11th, actually on September 11th. And I don't think we've been abiding by the Constitution since then. We've been in a state of emergency. Are you aware of that?
Sure, but again, these are all beliefs and claims, right? Who's the man or woman who's going to come forward in court and say, you've all lost your rights because state of emergency? So they wrote it down on paper and you believed it, and that's why it works. If every single person in here walked into a court and said, nah, I don't accept that, we're gonna hold you to your rights, it doesn't happen. That's the thing. Our problem is that we are not united, but that's what we're doing here today, right? This is all part of the process. The process is still ongoing. We're all little pieces to that process. So the work that we're doing here, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line, everyone's gonna be able to sit here 10 years from now and say, we were a part of that. We were a part of that process. You know, and we're figuring it out. We're trying things. Maybe we fail. Maybe we go to jail. We do what's necessary, right? If everybody does that, the universe is going to provide. We do live in a universe and a realm of abundance. You know, that is clear, right? When we come from this fear space and this lacking space, that's when the dominators and controllers move in. So,
you could say that the American Revolution was fought with muskets, and this new revolution is fought with words. How do they use language to control us and use legality and mandates and, as you say, procedures and all that to make us believe that that's how the reality is supposed to be?
Because we don't understand the words in terms of art that they use, right? Mandate, mandatory, must. You know, we got to look these words up and understand that we think they mean you have to. When you look up their legal jargon, it's advisory. It's not compulsory, right? Declaration of Independence says that statutes, policies, and codes are given the force of law by the consent of the governed, right? That means the consent of each man and woman. That doesn't mean 60% voting in some bozo to rule the rest of us. That means each man and woman has to give their consent. If they don't give their consent, it's illegitimate government, right? So that is the founding of our country, and they swear an oath to it. We are not parties to that contract. We didn't sign it. They swore an oath to it, so they are. Right? So we don't claim constitutional rights. We say we get our rights from the universe. Whatever you believe God is, that's where our rights come from. As it says in the Constitution, all men and women are created equal, self-evident truths, right? And we get those rights directly from our universal creator. And we codified that in the Constitution and have them swear to it because we knew they would come back later and try to overthrow our rights for regulation, for safety, right? And keep everyone safe. We're going to take everyone's rights to keep everyone safe. They do it in every civilization. So when we stop falling for it, and when we care about ourselves and love ourselves enough and our children, people tell, I have kids, I don't want to. You have kids and you don't want to fight for the future of this world and this country. If you have kids, you should be fighting harder, right? That's what I would think. You tell me a single guy should fight harder than people with kids? If I had kids, I'm not sending my child out into this world, to these public schools, to be abused and traumatized and put in masks and injected with poison. It's ridiculous. We have to start becoming fully accountable and response-able, and we have to be real with ourselves, how we got ourselves in this position. We co-created this, Mike. I like how you're looking at me, because it means I'm on a roll. Are you getting this? Are you getting this back there? See what happens?
Can you talk a little bit about commerce and UCC?
Okay. So, again, it's a lot of it's perspective. If you do a Google search, they'll tell you, well, the UCC is a loose collection of something like laws. And then you go to another search, they'll say it's the actual law for all the states that they've sworn in, right, for commercial activity. I don't get into the UCC much because I don't like to use code. Right, and there's people here who disagree with me. I've been having these discussions, but I believe in what I term the common law or common lore, which is the unspoken law that's passed down from the universe to us, right? It's centered in our conscience. All of us have the ability to come to know right from wrong if we remove our ego, right? If we seek truth. That's the only way we can have a society without doing harm to each other. Everyone here gets together and there's no problems, there's no issues, because each one of us has a law written within us. We didn't need men and women to write it down, Mike. We didn't need them to write it down. Don't kill each other, don't take each other's things. No, we're loving beings and we do right because it feels good to us. So, do we want that power back, or do we want to be seen as people who had to be told the difference between right and wrong? I don't.
What's your vision for the next 5 to 10 years for this country?
That's open-ended. You want me to be totally real? It's open-ended. It's based on the cause and effect. What are the men and women, especially the men and women here? Because they're the ones with the power and the greatest responsibility. They're the most awake, right? So dependent upon what the populace does is going to depend where we go. I think everyone here knows where we're going to go if we don't level up. We're going to go into full-on slavery, hence the name Paul Unslaved, right? Because I've unslaved myself, for better or for worse, that's it, I'm out. So I want everyone to come with me, right? I want everyone out. So unslave yourself, get out of the matrix, get out of the system, understand the difference between legal and lawful, man and woman versus legal person, and we're out of this. That's it. Then we go party. Then we go hit the base, you know what I mean? Maybe take some party favors. I don't know if we could, it's a little crazy. All right, go ahead.
So you currently live in the state of Colorado. Can you explain what that means when I say the state of Colorado?
Okay. There's 2 states, right, of each state. That's why I believe you have 2 senators, right, Mike? 2? Okay. So state of Colorado, Colorado State. One is the corporate entity, one is the land. How many people knew that? No? Yes? Go ahead. Okay. So state of Colorado, corporation. Colorado State, the land. That's the difference, right? And then a lot of people talk about this National Assembly thing. What they're doing is they're correcting their status on record as men and women of the land, right? So that's why when the public servants come along, they say, well, give us your name. And then when you give them the information, they don't want to touch it because they don't have jurisdiction anymore. It's all about paperwork. This, like you said, the pen is mightier than the sword. Even the scripture says that. It's not the time for the sword yet. We got to use pen and pad.
So this kind of ties into state sovereignty and what really makes this country so amazing. Have you looked into your paperwork, or we talk about on AlphaCast with Dr. Berlando a lot, he says we're beyond that now. And I think that's why we're so in tune with you, and we have respect for the paperwork, and we think that's important. But it also seems like maybe we're it's time for a bigger movement. What is your theory on that? Because
It's both. It's both. It's got to be both, right? You can't go in there with paperwork and, yeah, it's me. I'm a man. You know, I plead. Can I plead? You have to go in there. You got to move the paperwork. So if the paperwork's simple and you come in there with a certain energy and you move it, it's got to be both, right? You're not going to come in there and they're going to, like I said in that video, conviction. What you hold in your heart is called a conviction. That was the ancient god of judging would weigh your heart on a scale, right? To test your conviction. When I walk into a room, they feel my conviction, right? So they feel my conviction, you know? So that's a big part of it, is that unseen world, that hidden, that energetic world. That's where a lot of this moves. And you'll see it in that video, right?
Yeah, that's fantastic. You want to take some questions?
Absolutely.
I think people have questions.
And also too, Mike, you know, me and Paul are going to be doing that thing. If anybody wants to come up to me and we can have conversations one-on-one. People have already been doing that. We had some great conversations. So yeah, if there's any questions, we can take that now. Go ahead.
So he's asking some practical solutions for securing our freedoms right now in our daily lives.
Sure, like I said, you have to start, you know, the same care and want that we have for maybe other things in life that we really enjoy or really want to do. We have to make that time for the things maybe we don't want to do that need to be done. So we need to start hitting the books, start studying, start learning the definition of words, because this is where this battle is won and lost right now, is with the words. Right, so we got to get our word game together, and we got to get it tight so we have a wrap, and then, you know, this way we go into paperwork, you know. So really, it's just, again, cultivating that lifestyle everywhere you go. Like they say, I'll give you their program. You see something, say something, right? Don't they say that? Do it in the positive sense. Every time you see a wrong being done, like they taught you in school, you know, see something, say something. You know, stand up for yourself and others around you, even if they're not coming at you. What is a man if he does not stand for the weaker elements of society, right? The children, right? Children can't defend themselves. You see a child masked in the store, tell them, why do you have your kid in a mask? You're abusing that child. What, I'm impolite because I'm telling someone else not to abuse their kids. If they beat them in front of me, I'm gonna tell them stop it. You know, so we have a responsibility and accountability to each other, right? To this society we live in. When you see wrong being done in public, you call it out. It's not private. You have a say on it. We all have free speech in public. We all have the right to record. We all have the right to speak openly in public about wrongs being done, right? So it's more about cultivating that energy, right? And getting comfortable with the uncomfortable so that we can meet confrontation with a loving, faithful, trustworthy, but still steady, right? Still a strong energy so that they know who they're dealing with. They love it. They love it, Mike. Yes.
Have you already distinguished between definitions according to Black's Law Dictionary and what we consider the definition of
I'll repeat this. She's asking if we've gone over the difference of definitions between Black's Law Dictionary and what's more colloquial now, what's more standardized now.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's different dictionaries, right? And this again goes back to the idea that everything here is man and women's beliefs. You know, it's written down on paper, someone's beliefs. If you go to Black's Law Dictionary, go look it up, the first edition to the most modern edition, the words have changed definitions. How did the words change their meaning? They've changed them because they're obfuscating the definitions of the words to try to skew our attention, right? The idea, like I said, look up driver in the most modern Black's Law Dictionary. It says nothing about commerce. Look up driver in the Black's Law original dictionary, the first edition, whatever it is, and it'll say a driver is one employed to do commerce on the roadway. So when they say, are you driving a motor vehicle today? Those are commercial terms. We don't know that. We think it's a vehicle with a motor in it. No, that's an automobile, right? So, yeah, I don't know if I answered the question. I went off there a little bit. Yeah, let me just real quick. So, yeah, while I got it. So, with the dictionaries, right? I recommend Bouvier's Law Dictionary. That's just what I kind of like right now. But I would suggest cross-referencing, right? And go back as far as you can, because then what you're doing is you're establishing a belief and an understanding that is common to mankind, right? So they'll say, well, that case was 1920. What's the difference? At one point, at one time, men and women understood that this meant that. Well, what changed? You see? So it's about, you know, keeping them on task, you know, not giving them that way out, because they know, You know, they know the words and definitions have been changed in order to keep the revenue generation going. They don't want men and women to figure out their rights and that they don't need an intermediary between them and God.
For those of us that are just becoming aware of this, it seems a little overwhelming. You've got bank accounts, life insurance policies, auto insurance, driver's license, stepwise process. So you're sort of like, you got to do it all.
Great question. So he's saying in modern life we have all these things: bank accounts, licenses, a wedding. You know, to get married you have to have a license, right? To be with your loved one. Is there a step-by-step process one can start to get into this, to move towards this direction, towards freedom?
Sure. So again, we're back to words, right? Registration. You register your car. Great. You just made it someone else's property. That's what register means. Record is different. So you record your property. You keep record of it. You put it on file somewhere. You number it so that if it gets stolen, you can say, hey, that's my property. Go get it. You register property. You just turn your property into government property. So go look at what the stickers and everything else says when you put it on your car. You just made your private property government property, which is how they regulate it. They can't regulate private property, right? But the majority of people don't know that they've turned their car. That's what a title is. You've titled it something. So they hand you the title. You sign it. You just titled a household good under the UCC, back to UCC. It's considered a household good. You just titled it a motor vehicle. So now they can apply all their statutes, policies, and codes to you. Right? So only men and women can give title, right? Like king and queen. Only men and women can give a title to something. So when they give you, it's all contract, like the W-2, W-9. They put a paper in front of you, you sign it, have no idea what it is, and you just converted all your rights into benefits and privileges, and now they can take your private property.
Can we talk a little bit on that level? Because we have a lot of young parents here and people have kids. The process of having a child in the current commerce state.
Well, see, there you go again, Mike. I gotta stop you. I gotta stop you. Because you did it.
I know.
Right? You did the child thing.
Oh, you're right.
Well, it's a child.
Exactly.
Go into the word and what they do. Do you want to do what's in the best interest of your child, Mike? Great. Now we have jurisdiction. Right? I want to do what's in the best interest of me because that child, in quotes, is my property. We're back to property again because it's proper to me. It's there for my use and enjoyment. People say, that doesn't sound polite. No, it sounds how you keep them off your back. Because if you use their words, they're going to come in and do what's necessary, they believe, for the general welfare of society. No, this is my property. It's mine. I want it restored. If you interfere with my property rights, I'm going to sue you. I don't get into child and all that. Everything that's proper to me, even my name. You want to take my name and my fingerprints? I'm going to charge you because it's proper to me. It's my property.
That's amazing. In terms of the birth certificate versus recording, I was kind of trying to get to that. You know, what can parents do that are expecting to keep their children or keep their young man or woman? I don't know. Young girl or boy?
Tiny humans.
Tiny human.
Possibly. I gotta look up the
This
definition.
language.
Son or daughter? Sons or daughters?
Can you go into the recording in the Bible and all that stuff? I mean, is that something that makes sense?
Recording in the Bible?
Recording in a way instead of doing the birth certificate game.
Yeah, so I mean, any process, there's going to have to be, again, I've never done that process, so I can't really speak much on something that I haven't done. It would be disingenuous of me. But what I believe is there's a way around everything that they present us. So if you simply record, you know, this being, when you go down to the agency, you got to deal with them. You know, you have to treat them like your public servants. You don't go in there and let them dictate to you. You say, this is my property, and I'm going to fill out these forms the way I choose, and you're going to mark it down the way I tell you to. You know, the same way you do with the court clerk. You bring in papers, they try, well, we ain't going to file this. Give me $500. They told me $500 for one piece of paper. So I just brought them to federal court, and I said, file on demand. They filed it. You know, so they want to play games locally, we just go over their head.
It seems like that's an important thing we've forgotten, that they're servants.
There you go. And that's it. Dude asked, what can we do? Cultivate the attitude that every time you see someone in uniform, that's not your God, that's your servant. So when you walk up to them and start talking to them like a servant, they might start acting like one. If you walk up to them and talk to them like they're your God, they may start acting like it. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? What we put out is what we get back.
Questions?
Go ahead.
Oh.
Can we go into that real quick? Because I'm just thinking of something. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
She's
Okay.
okay. This is a great question. She's asking about. She has a friend who doesn't want to go through the birth certificate process, but there's a fear that if they have to bring the child to a hospital, which I don't recommend doing, by the way. Well, yeah. So I understand that. So valid question.
Yeah, but let's be honest,
but-
Mike. We have communities for that. We
We
have
do,
home
we
birthing.
do.
You're going to tell me you're not hooked in with a home birthing? I know you have connections to that
And
type
you
of
break a
stuff.
leg, it's not too hard. Andrew Kaufman was going to come. He couldn't make it. He was amazing in the reunion summit because he says we all need to get wise on how to heal ourselves.
Yeah.
Physician heal
We don't
thyself.
have to go to a hospital ever. And I think we have to really understand that. But I get it. Right now, there are parents who are busy and are working and their kid gets hurt. Of course, they want to do what's best for their kid. And they don't want Child Protective Services to come take their child away. What would be a strategy there if you did want to keep them out of the corporate, structural system?
Here's the thing that's kind of counterintuitive to this, is the idea that if you deal with them, then you're going to be better off. They may come for you short term and your child, but long term, they're going to have less grounding in court. Right? So if you do all their paperwork their way, they're going to have jurisdiction over that child. They may take them anyway for not vaccinating or not masking, whatever the next mind control program is. But I kind of got off there.
Just
Bring me back.
the birth certificate thing. Like, you make a great point. It's like, just stay out of it. Just stay out of
Yeah,
it the best you can.
stay out of it and let them come for you. Right? Do everything by what your creator tells you, and then put it on paperwork, create that record, and then when they come for you, you have everything on record with all the agencies. So now they should be on notice who and what you are, your status, if you want to call it that, right?
Let's say, though, if Child Protective Services is coming for some reason.
Who's Child Protective Services?
Thank you.
Who's child? That's a what? Okay, so there's a man or woman who's going to show up at your door and say, your child's mine. Cool, that's kidnapping. So where do you want to send the check? Because, if I bring you to federal court for kidnapping, among other things, because you, a man or woman, said you have a right, because of what someone wrote on paper, to take my child, you're going to pay. This is the thing. Everyone thinks that these agent and agencies are above reproach. No, you just can't sue agent and agencies, but you could sue the man or woman, right? So that'll say, qualified immunity. It's nonsense. You want to sue officer such and such. No, you sue John Jones, right? He's a man. He believed he had a right to interfere with your rights, which is a wrong.
So this will tie a little bit into the notices of liability workshop we'll be doing tomorrow with Lena Pooh and Josh Del Sol. Have you dabbled at all with notices of liability?
Sure, but I don't really call them, I don't call anything notice of anything. Everything's just a notice, like a notice to the world, right? If I was to tack something up on the tree for everyone to see. So, notice, and then what my claim is, what my statement is. Right? Because everything you put before or after, like they'll say, well, I'm the living man. No, nothing before or after to diminish the capacity. It's just man and woman. I couldn't be in court or anywhere else if I was dead. So I must be the living man or woman, right? If I'm there speaking. So.
Yeah, you're not Paul Zombie.
No.
Not
yet.
Undead.
But I'm going in for my third Moderna vaccine. So you never know.
Get the magnets out. So in terms of the claims, could you go a little deeper into this when you're communicating with a public servant about the idea of making claims versus questions? Because I think that's an important thing that a lot of people miss. Understand like the idea of what a claim is, because a lot of people, this is all very new to them.
Yes, it's a statement of your understanding or the facts, right? So this is my property, so-and-so interfered with my right to move that property. That's my claim, right? You come up, you hit me, Mike interfered with my rights, trespassed upon me, did wrong to me, and I require compensation in the amount for the wrong done. Now get out of it. Especially I have everything on video. So I go right away, Exhibit A, see the video. Because I video that, and that's your biggest thing when interacting with these individuals. Your camera's going to be your best weapon, right? So that everyone can see, the world can see. If they're going to do wrong to a good man or woman, let the world see it. They'll be held liable in the court of public opinion, one way or the other. And with the universe, people think because they don't get caught or held liable in court that there's no consequence. There's always consequence in this realm for doing wrong. So all that's nonsense. One way or the other, you're going to get your comeuppance.
Very good. Questions?
That's recording. Yeah.
This
Sure. Absolutely. Why didn't you have him get up and do the speech? I mean, well, why am I even here? This guy knows more than me.
he was just saying they went through the process of having a home birth child and recorded the child.
Yeah, he did it again.
I'm doing
Well,
it
they
again.
just took your child, Mike. He's
Recorded
gone.
and
There
they
it goes.
claim as property. And have you had any issues with that? No issues. Yes.
Yeah, so he's talking about recording, just for, you know. Yeah, sure. There's a reason for that. Believe it or not.
She's saying, so people can hear this, she's saying and this is how a lot of us, I think, are, think these days, is there a modular way to get into this so we can get step-by-step program to start to understand this, because she wasn't taught this in college.
Sure, and I have bar attorneys who come to me and they'll tell me, Cole, you know more about the law than me and all my friends. I go, yeah, because you were taught by people who deceived you. You never got the whole story, so you weren't meant to. But yeah, I don't know where Paula's at. There she is. Give her a round of applause. I want a round of applause for Paula right now. Come on, there she is. Look at her.
Paula Pratt.
Look how humble she is. She didn't want it, but she's getting it. There you go. Okay. So,
there are a number of people in this sovereignty space doing common law coursework, and there's a number of people, if you come backstage or if you see me, I could recommend a few that are developing these. Of course, Cal Washington and Lena Poo here, the Empower movement, they're developing protocols for that where you pay a monthly fee to get the education. There's a few others too. So this is stuff that's really exciting because people are waking up to this, and there will be more and more innovation to help people who are just discovering this to do exactly that.
and all right.
Yeah, she's mentioning the American State Assembly that Paula's very active in, and that you mentioned earlier. Paula, did you want to add something to American State Assembly?
They don't have anything on traveling more confidently, and I just want to say, if you could talk a little bit, Paul is putting together a 3-hour course on traveling more confidently, and it's also going to be presenting and helping everybody put together a paperwork package for having inside your car.
Yeah. Automobile, property. We're just gonna go property. Everything is property. Us is property. Just get used to it.
So I invited Paul to put together this 3-hour course. We're going to have a syllabus and an outline and homework assignments, and everybody's going to put together their automobile paperwork package and do role playing and learn the language and learn how to interface with the police officers that pull you over.
Yeah.
So Paul's putting that together.
So let me just
Reiterate that so the video.
Yeah, okay. So Paula was just talking about, so we got together and we're going to be doing this module, and we're going to be showing people the paperwork on how to, as it says, travel more confidently, right? But move property more confidently, right? Because I don't believe that you're ever going to be able to be fully confident, right? In a world where people may do wrong to you, but more confidently, right? We can have the words and terms in front of us on paper. We can point to it. We can hand it to them, and then kind of, again, you're going to have to know what you need to know, and that's what the course is going to be for. But yeah, we're putting that all together.
And so I'm registered? Do you have a license?
No, I don't have
You
any.
don't have anything?
No, there's nothing there.
So what do I do with this car that's about to come into my possession?
So now I can't tell you what you should do, right? Because what I would do is different from what you would do because I have a different experience with it. But anything you're going to want to sign, you're going to want to sign something along the lines of NA, which is non-assumptive, means that you're not assuming any of the liability of that contract, right? Because everything they present you is an offer, it's a contract. When you sign it, you're agreeing. So, you know, like they arrested me a couple weeks back and they put me in the cell for 8 hours. They said, well, if you want to get out, you got to sign these papers. So I just signed NA, under duress, all rights reserved. The contract is void.
You signed that as your name.
You can do that. No one's, they can't give you legal advice. So they can't, well, no, is that your real name? You need to sign, no. You sign however you want because they're just fulfilling the process and they're going to give you the presentment. And then how you deal with that is going to dictate where the standing and jurisdiction is. But again, you're going to have to be able to move that. You're going to have to be able to confidently get in court because again, to try to bank on them not doing something to you when we live this lifestyle is just kind of silly. We have to be almost ready and willing and wanting that interaction. And then, like I said, surrendering the outcome. If you believe in it, you have to believe in your mind and heart that it's worth it to you. Some people out here say it's not worth it to me. It's not a battle I want to engage in. I just want the license and the registration and the plates. I want to be left alone day to day. You know, but I tell people then, you can have both. If you want to keep all this stuff and you want to start out and get your feet wet, take the plates off. Take them off. You hide them, whatever. When they stop you, go through the thing with them. Right? Go through the back and forth. You can always say, well, okay, I got the plates. You know, you're going to have to start to, seriously, you're going to have to start to play with it and just say, well, I'm going to take them off today, see what happens. If it gets real crazy, okay, I got the plates. Don't break my neck. You know, so it's like, you know, you're going to have to learn to have fun with it and get comfortable with the uncomfortable. They may throw me in a cell today, but I'm going to try this out. And then once you try it out and you get that first taste, that first little high, if you want to call it that, it's all over with from there. Because you're never going to go back to letting men and women dictate to you as a grown adult what you can and can't do. The crowd's been unslaved, Mike. Yes. Crowd unslaved.
Yes. Music&Sky Unslaved.
Hold on, we got two. Which one? Ladies first.
I got pulled over and my son was in the car with me, and so they were threatening to take me to jail, and they'd have to hold me until Monday till I could see a magistrate. I had signed sovereign, and they were all confused.
Yeah, I don't sign sovereign.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was just like, what will happen if I do this? And then I was like, shit, what's gonna happen to my kid if I'm out of the car? Like, how do they even get at you? Do you just leave the doors locked? I don't know what the process is, so I was just gonna.
Yeah, but that's why you create that non-joinder, if you want to call it that. I don't know of a better term, but that's why you don't create that joinder. So when you sign under duress or NA, all rights reserved, when they go to look at that, because the case in the court all moves by the paperwork. They'll claim they don't know anything other than what's in front of them with the paperwork. So if that paperwork is not binding, right, legal person, if you go look it up, it'll say surety and a legal person. Right, so what they're doing there is, or I think I have that reversed, but either way, what I'm saying is there's an all capital letters name and then there's the body. They're making joinder between them, right? Persona. Ironically, in a world where everyone's now wearing physical masks, right? Because these are people who are wearing like masks based on their personality. They were fake for such a long time. Well, now we have actual mask wearers all around us. So person means mask. When they say, we want you to appear in person, well, which person, right? The legal person or the lawful person? Because lawful person is the body. Legal person is the all capital letters name. Anytime you see a document with that all capital letters name, they're asking you, appear for this person, please. We'd love you to do that. Please appear as this person so we can take all your rights. Because without that, if you don't appear as that person, you can't do it. Again, consent to the governed, all contractual, even taxes. People, taxation is theft. No, it's not. It's a contract. They handed you a W-2. You signed it, now you have to perform. Stop whining. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking to you, I'm just saying in general, we have to stop whining. Understand what's going on and move around the process. And then they have no backing legally.
I'll take another one.
Yeah. Go ahead. Okay, so
I just want to go in on it. I was going to say, what happens when they hit you with that letter, but they're gonna come take your spot. And I've gotten hit a couple times, like, all right, fuck it, here's your money, and then move on. But what if someone really did want to just, move into that direction and just saying, fuck you? So I give them so much money every year, it's kind of tired of it.
Yeah, I
but
mean, you
it's
don't...
also pay to play sort of thing, and I have 6 kids, and we all just sort of...
Benefits and privileges, right?
Yeah.
There you go. You want tax breaks, you want this, you want that. You want Medicare, you want Medicaid, you want free diapers.
I just don't want to throw some shit. We don't usually get money.
No, I know. I'm just giving the whole idea that when you get on paper with them, you're giving up rights for benefits and privileges. So you're not telling them fuck you. You're just saying I don't wish to contract with you. Well, it's not us versus them. It's we ignored truth for so long that we enslaved ourselves by giving our responsibility and power away to public servants because we didn't know any better and wouldn't do any better. Now that we know better and do better, it goes away, right? So we don't need to say fuck you. Just go that way. We don't need your services. Simple.
We can take one more question. You pick.
One more question. Where are we at? Come on, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Alex, you go.
I'm gonna get hired like an independent contractor, like 1099.
Sure.
And I don't want to have to pay the taxes eventually, but I don't sign it, the normal way, and then the person is not gonna accept it, and then they won't pay me like they don't want to hire me. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't do it the regular way.
And that man or woman is going to give you legal advice. Why?
No, I'm saying I want to give this person, I want to do this service for this person, so they pay me.
And they hand you the 1099.
Yeah, and but since I don't do it the normal way.
Then what's the normal way?
I don't know, signing my.
And who determines that? You see what I'm doing? I'm pigeonholing you to where it makes no sense. So you're now my employer going to give me legal advice on how to sign a contract. I'm going to sue you. You're practicing law without license, right? You're trying to employ me and at the same time telling me I have to follow your legal nonsense to get a lawful position. You can't do that. Just like telling me I have to take a vaccine or wear a mask. It's unlawful. You're going to do harm to me. You can't tell me you're going to hold my job over my head at the risk of doing harm to me. Geneva Code, Geneva Convention, Nuremberg Code, these are all established laws.
So what can I do to because I want that person to give me money, but I don't want to do it the legal way.
Tell them, listen, I understand my rights. I'm going to sign the way I choose. If you interfere with that process, I'm going to sue you.
Okay.
Jerry, John, whoever. You watch them go, and they're going to go look for the legal team. That's what's going to happen. Because whoever, whatever, they're just told the spiel. They give it to you, and then they go home. Once you start questioning it and putting them on the spot, you're going to watch them all back away because they don't know, right? Even a lot of their legal team, they may have to look into a little bit. So that's...
And it's just a guy.
What do you mean?
I'm just it's just some guy. He's not...
That's even better. That's even better.
Okay.
Okay, so a guy's going to hire me to mow lawns.
Yeah.
He's going to hand me a 1099. I'm going to sign how I want. If he interferes with that process, I'm going to sue him.
And you can apply this to anything if you have an employer that's trying to have you vaccinated or wear a mask at work, correct?
Absolutely. There is no prerequisite. There is no set of circumstances where a man or woman can harm another man or woman lawfully, right? I'll give you the example. All law is contract agreements, essentially. If I'm in a marriage with a woman, God help her, if I'm in a marriage with a woman, right, I can't, just because we swear to stay together till death do us part, doesn't mean I can kill her, right? I can't do harm because we have a contract together. Once I do cause loss, injury, or harm to that person, the contract is null and void, just by common sense and definition, right? So there is no contract or set of circumstances that ever allows another man and woman to harm another man or woman, right? Just by universal law alone, let alone the codified constitutional law and how it comes down to protect our God-given rights.
Amen. Paul Unslaved, everyone. Not bad for his first time.